Hello again, Jim here, Contrary Fuchsia Plant of the Week time. This week I'm going to do a plant called Geranium Johnson's Blue, and it is a plant bred in this part of the world, but it's a cross between two different species of the same genus. So I'll explain all that as we go along. And we're also going to deal with the differences between geraniums and pelargoniums, which seems to cause utter confusion between people, but it's really very, very simple. I'm Jim, this is a Contrary Fuchsia, and thanks for tuning in. Geranium Johnson's Blue was bred in a very famous geranium nursery in the 1950s by a guy called A.T. Johnson. It was Johnson's Geranium Nursery. He's with a J, geraniums with a G. And what he did was he crossed two species of the same genus. So the genus is, as you know from watching my videos, the genus is the first name, that was geranium. And the species name is the second name. And the two he crossed were Geranium himalayense and Geranium pratense. They're the ones that we believe he crossed to create Geranium Johnson's Blue. And that's why it's written Geranium X or Geranium Cross johnsonii, Johnson's Blue, and that's the origin of the name. It has a few different common names. Crane's bill is one that's generally used for geraniums because the seed heads look like a crane's bill, funnily enough. And it's also known as Johnson's Blue, and I think if you said Johnson's Blue, everyone would know the plant you were talking about. The growing conditions for Johnson's Blue, it loves full shade, but it will also tolerate, or it loves full sun, but it will also tolerate a bit of shade. It loves a good soil, like most plants. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there's very few plants will grow in rubbish soil. So Geranium Johnson's Blue is no exception to that. The beauty about this one is it's very, very hardy. It will survive anything that our winter will throw at it. And it's a bit wind tolerant as well, which is great. You can grow it in pots, my favourite way of growing plants lately, and you can also grow it in drifts, and it looks spectacular. The only thing about growing it in drifts though is that after a couple of years you will have to dig it up and split it, because what you'll find is that the centre of the plant starts dying out and it'll begin to look scraggly. So, but we'll get to that in a minute when we're talking about propagation. The size of the plant is roughly 40 to 60 centimetres in height, and roughly the same kind of a spread as well. It can be propagated by cuttings. It can be propagated probably best in the autumn time by digging up existing plants and splitting them. And this is what you need to do if you have older plants, because what happens is, as they grow into drifts, the centre of the plant starts to die out, and what you'll get is peripheral growth around the outside of the drift of plants, and you'll have a gap and it looks awful and straggly. The beauty also about digging it up every so often is you get new plants and it strengthens the existing plant. So that's the best thing and the best way to propagate it. Geranium Johnson's Blue is a lovely, beautiful plant with a lovely blue and a gorgeous flower to it. So it's a versatile plant. It can be grown almost anywhere in pretty much any kind of conditions, the kind of conditions that most gardens will throw at it. Very easy to grow, very easy to propagate. If you have one plant, you'll never run out of it if you propagate it properly over the years, and you'll have loads of little plantlets to give to friends and neighbours if that's what you have in mind to do as well. I'm just going to change the angle of the camera there for a minute to walk around Doneraile Park where I am, and to explain to you the difference between pelargoniums and geraniums. So pelargoniums are essentially the kind of plants that we use as summer bedding. We use them in baskets and tubs. We use them as there are bred species and varieties that become trailers, and we use them in our baskets. And these plants are essentially very, very, very soft. They do not tolerate our winter, even our mild winters. They won't get through. They love the heat. These pelargoniums absolutely love being out in the full sun. So if you have a tub the front of your house, or a window basket, or a window trough, or hanging basket, then you, with geraniums in them, then you need a full sun because they'll soak it up. They also tolerate being dry for a while. So, you know, they are more drought tolerant. And the reason for that is where they're from. They're from South Africa predominantly, and the surrounding countries of South Africa. So you can see why they're a bit sensitive to our winters. Geraniums, on the other hand, are far more widespread. They're from temperate areas of Europe, America, and over even as far as Asia. And because of that, then they'll easily tolerate anything that our winter has to throw at them. And they will survive it, no problem. They're different in the sense that we treat pelargoniums as annuals, essentially. At the end of the basket season, we throw them out. You don't have to do that. You can take cuttings. If you have a glass house or a conservatory, you can take cuttings and overwinter them in the heat, and you'll have new plants for next year. So you can do that quite easily. Whereas the geraniums, all you need to do with geraniums is to lift and divide them every 3 or 4 autumn times, and you'll have loads and loads of plants for almost forevermore, really. So if you want to know what's a simple way of describing the difference between them is geraniums go in the ground, and they are from temperate areas of Europe, America, and over as far as Asia. And pelargoniums are used as bedding plants, and they're from South Africa and are very, very sensitive to our winters. And that's about the size of the difference between the two of them. So don't get confused anymore. You can't say you haven't been told. I'm in Donwell Park again. It's absolutely fabulous. And here is Johnson's Blue in all its glory, in its actual environment. And here it is in full sun in Adair Town Park. If you ever come out here, it's a beautiful small little park, but it's absolutely lovely, beautiful place to walk around. And there's Johnson's Blue in its natural environment in full sun there. But you can see the amount of flowers are on this side, and it's almost in complete shade. In fact, it's in complete shade all day. The sun does not really hit this spot. It's sheltered by these magnificent hornbeam or Carpinus betulus. Beautiful examples of those plants. And there it is, Johnson's Blue in all its glory. And that wonder, actually, as I'm here, I'm after spotting one of my favourite plants. This is Ligularia stenocephala. Look at that. Isn't that just the most magnificent plant? It's a pretty small example of it. Ligularia comes from the meaning of it refers to the flowers. They're like, Ligularia is a Greek for a strap, and it's a reference to the type of flowers that they have. Not those ones, no, they have a daisy-like, there's a daisy-like Ligularia as well, which is not this one. And stenocephala is narrow head, really. Stenos is narrow and cephala is head. And you can see it, a narrow flower stem, beautiful plant. Ligularia stenocephala. Sorry to go off there. And it is offset against the blue in the background of the geranium Johnson's Blue, properly called geranium cross johnsonii Johnson's Blue. And that's geranium Johnson's Blue. Until next time we meet on the Contrary Fuchsia, I'm Jim, and thanks very much for tuning in.